I have to admit, my favorite feature of this thing is the fact that it lights up. So let's get straight into this video about the POWERBALL. I want to talk you through some of the functions of this particular ball. I'm going to talk you through what I think some of the differences are with the other models out there. Ultimately, I think if you're buying one of these, it's either because you have a wrist injury or because you're concerned about your risk in some way. So after I'm done talking to you about this thing, which you came here for, I'm going to share with you a little bit of why I bought it and my injury. And then I'm going to share with you exercises, nothing to do with this ball, that I'm also doing to rehab my wrists, which are feeling good. The first thing I want to say when it comes to this POWERBALL is that there seems to be different models out there. So the one that I bought is the 17-pound version. I got it for under 20 pounds in the UK. It doesn't have spin counter on the top of it like some of the other models do, and it is not the auto start. And from what I can see, the spin model, the one which comes with a spin gauge on the top, a digital spin gauge, is double the price. It's about 34, 35 pounds in the UK. And the one that comes with an auto start, I think is about £100 or more. There's lots of different versions of this POWERBALL, and I obviously haven't tried the others, but I'm going to talk you through the most basic one. Why, for someone like me who's a PT, someone who does a lot of heavy wrist stuff, this seems fine for now, although maybe in the future I'll think about upgrading. The other thing I wanted to say is that during my search, there's other products out there, which again, I didn't buy. The POWERBALL does tend to have the highest reviews. I have no affiliation with this company, by the way. So I bought this one. And the reason I'm mentioning that is because the packaging it came with felt really premium, in all honesty. It was packaged up so well, and I'm not one to keep packaging around to tell you about it. And the other thing is the POWERBALL itself actually feels really good. I'm going to show you some of the features of it, which aren't many in all honesty. When it comes to this model is not an auto start. So you start it with a little string that you put through. I'm just going to take it out so you can see. It's easy enough to put in there. You just slot it through one of the holes. You do 2 revolutions of this ball, and then you're ready to go. One of the things I really liked about this ball, I can't not show you, but I didn't know it had this feature until I got it, and it was a bit of a nice surprise. To start this thing off, you simply rip the cord out and you can start spinning the POWERBALL around. You can look at the leaflet to tell you the different exercises. This is my left hand, so my weak hand, and if you think you're going to have trouble trying to start it off, I'm not sure you will. My right hand is a lot stronger. As you can see, the feature I was talking about, as you do more revolutions and increase your spin, the light tends to get brighter. So when it comes to using the POWERBALL, you're not going to be using your whole arm. You're going to keep a pretty fixed shoulder, fixed elbow, and most of this you want coming from your wrists. I find the smaller the revolution, the size of the circle I'm making, the more spin speed I can get, and the faster it spins, the more resistance this thing generates. I can feel my forearm lighting up, and you can try to get better at it maybe by making larger revolutions. I have to say in the beginning, start with small revolutions. That's where your speed is going to come from. And then try to get bigger and bigger and maintain that speed. You can do the clockwise as I'm doing now. You can go anti-clockwise, which as you can see, it's sometimes harder to navigate some of the movements. The ball will slow down, obviously. And you can always just speed it up in the way that you're kind of used to doing it. I'm having trouble having the anti-clockwise going today. I don't know why. My forearm is actually hurting quite a lot. And then you've got the palm facing up version, same thing, rotation one way, rotation the other way. And look, you can just mess around. This is the version that generates, I think, 16 kilograms worth of weight in your wrist, as it says. So this is the 280 hertz model. Cord start, cost me £20, and I believe it generates 16 kg in resistance. It does. 18,000 RPM is the maximum it can go up to. So there you go. This, I find it useful for my rehab at the moment. It has been quite a useful addition to my wrist rehab routine. I think it has had some benefit, and it's taken me around a month and a half to get back to a good place with my wrist. So in my personal opinion, I would recommend it. If you look at the reviews on Amazon, my injury came from a sports related injury, but the other reviews on Amazon, actually for people that kind of do repetitive strain stuff, maybe bricklayers or other people that use their hands and wrists, nurses maybe, doctors, dentists, they also find this useful. I think the reason being, we get injured in our wrists either because we just put too much load through it, lift something way too heavy, or from repetitive strain of doing the same motion. So by doing some revolutions with that wrist and the 4 different variations, I think you're just adding back some variability into that tendon, into that joint that it's missing. So get some blood flow going in the right way and not just doing the same repetitive movement. For me, the repetitive movement and injury I had came from squash. So there was a particular squash shot I was playing, which is with my forehand and a bit of a flick at the front. You actually, I don't know if you heard it, it just clicked there. So a bit of a forehand and a bit of a click, bit of a movement in my wrist downwards. I was having a bit of a pain and something that felt trapped down here. The reason I mention that is because I play squash, so I shouldn't really get a repetitive strain injury in my wrist. But I have been off and not playing a lot of squash in the last few years, and this was the first time I played in a tournament, and I played 3 matches in one day, and I was playing high caliber people that I was used to playing perhaps 10 years ago. I was hitting the ball harder, I was having harder rallies, and I would say I was putting more stress through that forearm for sure. So that was my injury. I'm going to show you now a few of the other exercises I do, nothing to do with a POWERBALL, that have been really helpful to rehabilitate my wrist. I'm someone who uses his wrists a lot in his gym movements. I practice handstands, I do muscle ups on rings, I do a whole bunch of other things that are require me to lift heavy things like deadlifts and squats. So my wrists are really important. So I'm going to show you a few of the exercises that I think may help you. Okay guys, so I'm going to talk you through a few things. You may want to do each for, let's say, 30 seconds, so it shouldn't take you too long. You can also think about doing this on a mat or with something softer, so it's a little bit easier on your wrists. For me, I'm doing it on the hard floor. Just some ground rules. So you're not going into pain. So any feelings of joint or pinching pain in the joints, you come out of it. So for me, if I lean forward, on my right, I can feel a little bit of a pinch here. So I'm going to tend to stay slightly out of that pain. I don't feel any pain here. So either you stop or you come out of the range of motion that causes the pain. The other thing I want you to think about is you don't want to be forcing all the weight down into your hand, even though gravity is playing a part. So you want to try and actively push away. So you're trying to create a bit of space in this joint. So this is me just being lazy, and I can feel pushing my bones into the ground. But if I actively push my hands, I feel like I'm pushing some of the weight away. So I feel like I'm creating more space in this joint down here. So we're going to use that principle to activate my hands, create more space in that joint, and then you can do some rocks forward. You can do 10 of these. Finding a further range and staying at a pain. You can then do some rocks backwards. Yeah, with your bum going back towards your heels this time rather than your shoulders going forwards. It's a nice big stretch in the forearm I'm feeling. You could do a version of this, which is just to switch some weight from each hand to the other and just turn your hands, turn them inside, getting just some movement, and back outside. This one people find the hardest, and not just because you have an injury. People I train in the gym, because we spend so long at our keyboards with our hands flexed back, I think, people find this the tightest, and most people start this exercise with elbows bent, and then eventually through releasing some of the stress and tension in their forearms, they can get to straight elbows. And then if you're confident with straight elbows, you're then doing the same thing and trying to send your bum backwards. So I've got nice straight arms, I'm pushing my weight away from the floor so my hands are activated, it's important. And then I'm just going backwards and getting a bit of a stretch. Now, you can just do those exercises, but I would say there's one final element that's really important for the strengthening and rehabilitation of your wrists that has really helped me. So it's in this, we call it PNF. So in this position, what you want to do is initially, instead of trying to lean forward, I'm trying to push my hand through the floor, but the floor won't move. So from here, I'm really trying to push. If you were looking at my hands from the top, you'd see my fingertips have gone really light because there's force going through and the blood's coming out. And then from there, I want to relax, constantly pushing my hands actively so there's nice space in the joint, and then I can lean a bit more forwards. Then I can activate again and I can push through the floor maybe for 3 or 4 seconds. Really pushing, and I don't feel any pain. Activating my hands, relax, I'm not pushing anymore, and see if I can find any more range leaning forward. And I can do the same in all 3 of the exercises I've showed you. So I can push my fingers through, activating my hands, 3, 2, 1, and then relax. I'm not pushing anymore, not actively and not to a high degree. And then I can see if I find any more range without any pain. And the same thing finally. And if you're struggling with this one, maybe a stretch is enough to begin with. But you get to nice straight arms, pushing my wrist as if I'm trying to push my knuckles through the floor. Nothing is moving. 3, 2, 1, and then try and find a bit more range. Those exercises really help me. If they cause you pain, stop. If they're not working for you, stop. That's it for this video.